Hello everyone. Before we start today's video, if you could all do me a solid and lightly tap the like button, perhaps share the video about and leave a comment. If you are not subscribed, subscribe as well. It would greatly help this channel. Thank you very much. Well, isn't this just fantastic? Captain's log. Subject 221017.3. Okay, so I got home sooner than anticipated, so I think I'll pull up a chair in engineering and watch crumble, stick pork in a blender. Now, does anyone have any snacks to go with this Ferengi pesto we appear to be brewing? Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. I had planned on not doing anything today, but go figure the moment I leave to go see a band, two things kick off of interest. The first was Amaranth more recently announcing DV within her life. For the sake of that, I'm not going to cover it today. I'd like to give us a little more time so more information has a chance to come out. Many have taken rather polarizing positions. I'm not going to get involved in that. Instead, we're going to talk about Just Stop Oil and Vincent van Gogh. Yeah, I actually looked up a pronunciation, and I probably still got it wrong. I have more recently criticized Just Stop Oil, Extinction Rebellion, and other of these environmentalist groups, not least because they come from very privileged white backgrounds, where daddy pays for everything so they can go do their little pet project until they reach a certain age, then much like Van Wilder, have to grow the feck up, get a real job, put in some hours, and then produce some offspring for them to then pass on the wealth that they inherit. I have been quite vocal in taking great umbrage in how they implement their methods, which in turn lead to, for example, emergency services being unable to perform their duties, because they played a game of lemmings and natural selection and glued their hands to the road on busy roads. M's. Yes, in this country, roads with an M at the beginning, yeah, no, they're busy. This, because of the way the United Kingdom has led to, in turn, drivers getting very frustrated. But if they harm them, the protesters get harmed by the drivers can be sued for it, because our country is a little bit of a bitch, and it likes to protect idiots. And when you think about the blue-collar worker being obstructed by the wealthy middle class, you know damn well the wealthy middle class will win because they can pay for a better lawyer. These same people who are unironically protesting environmental issues while wearing polyester, using asthma inhaler pumps. The same people that think by destroying a petrol station that the petrol station won't be usable in 24 hours, which it will be if it's not a Sunday. The same people that think by going to everyone's towns and griefing the local populace who are very time constrained because they've got a lot to do, are going to totally put down what they're doing and support them. Many people support standing up and protecting the environment, but we all think that perhaps starting with baby steps is the way forward. But we're running out of time is usually the argument touted. I was told that 25 years ago in secondary school. If we run out of time, then clearly we ran out of it 25 years ago. But then I vaguely remember being told by my own mother that they said the exact same thing when she was in school. I would ask her for confirmation, but she's been dead for 6 years, okay? And don't even get me started on trying to explain the irony of supergluing your hand to a road and then bleating on about the environment. You used a solvent. You moron. I would put money on these being the exact same morons that bought the "This is what a feminist looks like" t-shirt being promoted by Benedict Cumberbatch, thinking they were standing up for equality when it was made in a factory by slaves. That said, when I mention merch, actually there might be a point to it, because you, Just Stop Oil, have your own fundraising t-shirts. For the crappy logos you get, it costs over £33 for a white t-shirt with barely anything on it. Are you out of your mind? You can buy my merch for much less on Teespring, and there's greater art on it. You'll find it's the very first link in the pinned comment down below.
Buy it all.
Now, at the end of last week, Just Stop Oil were trending yet again. They were trending because yet again they'd gone to an art gallery, and this is where another issue I took arose. Because they'd taken to gluing themselves around artwork, defacing-ish. And my thought had always been, if you lack the balls to actually damage the painting, what are you actually doing there? Claiming to stand up for the working class people that can't defend themselves and therefore can't defend the planet, you go to an art gallery because apparently the publicity is to die for and the security is absolutely shocking. Well, two morons decided, these two morons, yes, the cartoons as well are quite accurate to describe them, decided in their infinite wisdom that now will be a fantastic time to approach a very famous piece of work, worth quite a lot, and, well, throw some soup over it, but don't worry, we've got a video of it, along with their message, because you really need to understand the motivations behind this. And only by understanding will you be able to empathize with just how important it is that they suck it.
Security!
What is worth more, art or life? Is it worth more than food? Worth more than justice? Are you more concerned about the protection of a painting or the protection of our planet and people? The cost of living crisis is part of the cost of oil crisis. Fuel is unaffordable to millions of cold, hungry families. They can't even afford to heat a tin of soup.
Oh my life, could you sound any more posh? I get called a posh twat on a regular basis, but mine comes from education. That one comes from inbreeding and class. If inbreeding is involved though, there is obviously a lack thereof, but they always seem to think they're above it. You also make a number of rather interesting statements, where it has to be either one or the other, an absolute. Do we appreciate life or art? The answer is we can appreciate both. Is art worth more than food? Well, I guess it depends if it came from Salt Bay's restaurant or not. Is it worth more than justice? Another rather interesting false equivalence, all of which are false equivalences. Do try to remember here that some people manage to raise significant amounts of money with their art, some of whom donate that to charity to help other people who are less fortunate. Others just, well, they go to Salt Bay's and get some really crap steak that's covered in gold and have him serve it with that salt that's just danced off his elbow. You then make another false equivalence about the protection of a painting and of course then the environment and our people. No Lives Matter is the more obvious way of addressing that, because no one actually really cares about anyone. You can claim to care, but in reality you don't offer a solution at all. You just go with just stop oil, not realizing the vast amounts of damage it would do to our planet instantly, because people will then start to fight. It will devolve into war over resources. Also, say the United Kingdom leads the way and stops using oil. No one else is. Are you going to take your crusade to other countries, or are you going to accept that our country is going to go back a little bit? Our country is nowhere near ready to push forward without oil, and oil is used in so many things that you might well take for granted. I'd like to see how that ends. Now, the clip I showed you ends with her complaining that people can't even afford to heat a tin of soup. Clearly you've never heard of a lighter. And all jokes aside, it is unfortunate that this situation has escalated the way it has. Truly, there are many mitigating factors that have led to this and contributed towards it. You can say, oh, it's government. But I don't think any government could have managed to get us out of coronavirus without there being a vast amount of debt. Genuinely don't think that could have happened. You could argue that the only real way forward would be some form of socialist system. But as we all know, socialism only works when you're dead. It doesn't work when you're alive. And also it only works if you're dead and you believe in a heaven and then go to a heaven to then worship your great leader. Those two protesters are called Phoebe Plummer and Anna Holland, and they were, shortly after that little demonstration, arrested by the police. They had actually not just glued themselves to the wall, but if you noticed, one had put the glue on both their hands, the other hand was on the floor. They made sure they were staying there. I don't know why they do that. The solvent is so easy to get hold of to break that. I'd rather just do the infamous, oh, you want to use that? Okay, I'm going to remove you by force. You're going to love this. I'm just going to go and hire Johnny the tackling Alzheimer's patient to do it. After they were arrested, about an hour later, other eco-zealots from the campaign group launched an attack against the police, where what they did was they went to the New Scotland Yard headquarters sign in Westminster and sprayed it, which then in turn led to 24 additional arrests. Was that really worth it? Because I don't see how it can be. But you know what? Just stop oil. Use your fire extinguisher to spray orange. everywhere. And these people are classy, but we are not done. On my way back from a concert, this morning that is, I had heard on the news from my dear friend who was with me that Just Stop Oil had also gotten involved in a bridge. The Dartford one, I believe. And if you go to Just Stop Oil's Twitter, their pinned tweet is, "I'm willing to do this because I'm not willing to sit back and see everything burn," which is from Morgan, who is a civil engineer. "Our corrupt politics is causing this disruption. It will end when government. #ends new oil and gas. Donate. Bridge, Louis, Josh, soup." They've really latched onto the soup thing. I think they're trying to, use Heinz and their, similar logo design, or the fact they've ripped off from it. Accompanying it is a video, and I'm going to play it for you.
Morning, I have climbed up this cable of the QE2 bridge of the M25 crossing the Thames. It's been really difficult. All we've had to grip onto this cable are some rope slings and our legs.
Yeah, this video's long, so I'm going to have to interject every so often for the sake of fair use. You're welcome. Congratulations on making your way up the Dartford Crossing Bridge. I'm so happy for you. Now, could you do me a favour and land the almightiest of belly flops, please? For science.
I'm willing to do this kind of thing because I'm not willing to sit back and watch everything I love burn for the rest of my life.
I'm assuming you mean figuratively, not literally, since I travelled through that area this morning and it was raining.
And that's what's happening. That's what's happening, and the current fraudulent charlatan excuse for a government we have here is accelerating that process, granting more licenses for oil and gas.
Yes, it turns out they don't believe a windfall tax will solve the problem that is, causing this escalation in prices, which is partly brought on by Putin and partly brought on because we couldn't secure our resources from anywhere else at a more reasonable price. Yes, I did some research, okay? Not many people respect the current government because they've only been in office for 2 weeks and already they look like an absolute shambles. But I'm not entirely sure any other government could resolve the issue, and I don't believe a windfall tax will either. But that is mostly because I don't believe by taxing them that will in any way offset the issues the country faces. Do I now need to insert the obligatory, well, we should be working together as a community thing and therefore money shouldn't be an issue?
It's an absolute act of treason. Selling all of ourselves and our children into an uninhabitable earth. And I believe it's my duty to do anything in my power to stop it.
So causing a massive logjam with cars then running, not able to get from A to B, delaying them which will anger them, not make them want to support you, is your method of ensuring that this country, and therefore world, because this massive United Kingdom that covers so much land space, means so much on the grander scale, will totally yield a positive outcome for the future, of course. I always used to believe in academia. I always believed with research, with time, with hard work, dedication, and communal efforts, you as a species could in fact go forward. However, when it comes to dealing with problems, you guys just go completely opposite ways. Even though there are many different ways one can go, you always seem to go opposite. It's quite strange. Now, at time of recording, this is still an ongoing problem, and I do hope you brought suitable supplies to withstand the, lovely weather over there right now. I'm now home and it's sunny where I am, but it isn't where you are. So please ensure you've got some thermals. If not, at least some chocolate. Fair trade, of course. If you do want to see the rest of that video, I'll link the pinned tweet down below in my pinned comment under my merch. Buy it! As a final thing, I'm going to be streaming on Twitch tonight. If I don't see you there, have a cracking day and thank you for listening. Ta-ta, everyone.